The Browns have to trim their roster down to 53, as do the other 31 teams in the NFL. And as it stands today, before the final preseason game, Andrew Berry and company are going to have some difficult decisions to make. There are a lot of talented players on this roster who will not be on the 53-man roster just based on roster construction.
Are there really difficult decisions? How many difficult decisions? Give me one difficult decision.
If you guys all agree on who will and will not make the team, then I'll take the L on this one.
Do you think there's a lot of difficult decisions?
I think injuries complicate this all the time.
I mean, at the back end of the roster on any team, I don't know that there's that many difficult decisions.
Well, we're going to find out because we have 5 different position groups today that we're going to talk about. We're going to get to the other ones later. I didn't want to make this a 3-hour topic.
I think this is a bad job out of you, Mike, because it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. Yeah. One affects the other.
Exactly.
So I'm very perturbed by this.
Well, if we did all of them, it'd be a 2-hour show. We wouldn't be able to get them all in.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
We're going to go with these 5 today, and we're going to start with the person G. Bush just alluded to a few minutes ago, Austin Watkins Jr. in the wide receiver room. These are the 9 receivers. There are more on the roster currently, but these are the 9 I think will be at least in the discussion, and some of them maybe not fully in the discussion.
Have you looked up by each position, generally speaking, how many NFL teams keep?
Okay, so I was looking at this. This was my thoughts.
Probably 6 or 7 for
the
receivers.
Browns are going to keep 3 quarterbacks, right? Some teams only keep 2. The Browns will keep 3.
Yes.
At running back, a lot of teams keep 4. I think the Browns only have 3 running backs, in my opinion.
Yes.
So tight end, I'm assuming 3.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we said 2 before, but I think it will be 3.
I think it'll be 3. Then 3 specialists, so that's 12. I think 10 offensive linemen, which would put you at 22.
Yep, I agree with all that so far.
And then wide receiver, I'm going to say 6.
6 or 7.
6 or 7, right?
I think 6.
D linemen, I got 10 D linemen, which is, could be 9. But I'll say 10. 5 linebackers and 10 defensive backs. Now, there's some flexibility there since you're only keeping 3 running backs. You could go with 9 DBs, 9 D linemen, or 9 O linemen and grab a spot. Okay. The Browns, one area I think that there are some tough decisions is on the depth of the offensive line because they've got some quality depth on offensive line.
I was looking. Do you know the highest graded center is Luke Whippler in the whole preseason?
Yeah. That doesn't matter.
Well, but he's going to make the team.
He'll make the team.
He'll make the squad.
Yeah.
So, because I was thinking Nick Harris was going to get his minutes and he wasn't going to play.
Right. So that's it. So the Browns have some flexibility to keep 7 wide receivers if they want.
All right.
So but I think 6 is probably more likely.
Yes.
So let's start with receivers. And if you want to keep 7, that means when we get to the other positions, at least today, you have to cut someone out. But these are the 9 receivers I think will be in the discussion, some more than others, to make the final 53-man roster.
Guys.
These are starters and backups, and Bull, you can start.
Yeah, so guys, Cooper, Moore, DPJ, and Tillman are locks. We know those 4 are locks.
Yep.
I think Bell is a lock for the roster. They just drafted him last year. Yep. You guys agree or disagree?
Yes.
I agree.
Okay, so that's 5. So we all in agreement they're only keeping 6, or you think there's a chance they'll keep 7?
I think it's 6.
Okay, you think so too? Okay, so the last spot comes down to Schwartz, Watkins, Grant, Godwin. Now, Godwin, I don't even know if he can play.
Can they put him on the PUP list?
So
to put Godwin on the PUP list, he has to make the 53-man roster.
Right.
You can't put him on the PUP list unless he's on the 53G. So
if you put him on IR before the 53, then he's out for the year. He's out for the year.
Right.
Dang, they don't got that 6-man IR, that 6-week IR no more?
Not before the season.
Damn.
No.
You can move him to IR after you get to the 53 deadline.
Right.
After that
and then pick somebody else up, but somebody could be gone. But let's assume Godwin's not there.
I don't think he's playing at all this year.
Because I don't think he's going to play.
No, I don't think so.
So it comes down to the final 3, the final spot between Schwartz, 3rd-round pick who's done nothing, Jakeem Grant, who was brought in to be a returner, although he hasn't played in the preseason, and he's been hurt, and Watkins, who's an undrafted free agent, came out of nowhere, but he's obviously impressed in training camp and in the preseason. Usually I lean against the preseason superstars because the Browns have had a guy like that every year, and they usually cut that guy. Everybody goes, what?
They had that every year. They had that. I've seen these guys.
You just forget about them because it's the preseason.
I know.
They had that little white dude a few years ago. Everybody was going bananas.
We was never giving.
Remember that little white dude?
Nobody was ever keeping a little white dude a receiver.
Nobody was ever having
that guy though.
No,
he was a mixed dude, and he was returning
he wasn't
kicks.
mixed.
You talk about the dude Severini.
No, not
Darren
him.
Severini? He was an actual.
I hear you talking. The return guy who's been big story.
Return
not that guy.
Who snuck his way into camp.
Remember that guy snuck his way into camp? And remember that? But I'm not talking about him. There was a little white dude like 3-4 years ago.
Andy Isabella? Was he here?
No, he wasn't on the Browns.
Nah, that never happened.
Everybody talks about Andy Isabella. This guy can't make any teams. I don't want this.
He's played.
No, it's a guy you never heard of. I think his last name started with a W. Every Browns fans was like, we got to keep this guy. He didn't even make a practice squad for anybody. Now, this kid is, but this year I'm going different. I'm giving the last spot to Watkins. I think he makes, Jakeem Grant, forget him. I don't need him. Anthony Schwartz is garbage. So let's see what Watkins has got. Might as well keep a guy who's shown some potential here with the 6th spot. What do you guys got for the 6th spot?
Man, Watkins, man, Bell lucky. Because Watkins better than him right now today. He lucky. To me, when I'm looking at the roster, I go Cooper, Elijah Moore, a.k.a. the guy that the offenses were built around.
Yep.
DPJ, the people's champ, because DPJ they love him. And then my 4th receiver, who has outplayed all of them, is Watkins Jr. Tillman is a rookie. I don't know what he's going to do. I like his upside. And then we got Bell because they like Bell and he just does his work and he did score a touchdown this offseason. Yeah. But Goodwin, I don't think is playing. Grant, I don't know what's up with him. We have not seen him at all. He's on the milk box. And Schwartz, we already know he was up out of here.
How about you, Jason? Who's your 6th guy?
If really the question with Watkins is, can you get him out of the practice squad? If you think
so you don't think they're going to keep?
No, I'm saying if you don't, if you like him and you don't think you can slide him through to the practice squad, you got to protect him.
Right.
And I don't think he makes it to the practice squad. I think somebody else would claim him.
Right. The way he's played.
Yeah. And so for that reason, I think he's in.
Right.
I've said for months I didn't think Jakeem Grant was making this team. Now the Goodwin injury changed that a little bit and opened up a spot for him, but I still don't think he makes this team. If you're comfortable with DPJ as a punt returner, I don't know what role Jakeem Grant really fills for you.
Could return
if he's here. Felt may not be here.
That's true.
But that's why I'm counting on DPJ. Is if you can, and now that you have Elijah Moore here, now that you have Tillman here, you have a little bit more depth at receiver. I don't know if it's as big of a risk with DPJ on punt returns.
Good point.
So if you're comfortable with DPJ as a punt returner, Jakeem Grant's expendable. You don't need him.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you're right. I think it's Watkins and Grant probably gets cut. If you like Jakeem Grant as a returner and you think you can slide Watkins to the practice squad, you think you can get him through. You go that way.
You could also keep seven wide receivers. Since you are only probably going to keep 3 running backs, you can get away with a 7th receiver. But I think we're all in agreement here, Mikey, on wide receiver.
Cool.
Does the behind the glass crew disagree?
No, I think Anthony, we all think Watkins Jr. finds a way into this team, right? Yeah, we're all in agreement. We're in agreement. Even though I do think Jakeem Grant.
One thing that's
real quick, I do think they keep 7, and I think Jakeem Grant is also kept.
One thing that's interesting, though, is who is going to be their 4th receiver. You're convinced it's Austin, and I think it's going to be Tillman as their 4th receiver.
Well, they like Tillman a lot.
Yeah.
I think they got more. See, we used to the Browns only having like one formation with more than one wide receiver.
Right.
So all these dudes going to get a chance to play.
Yeah.
Like
the 4th guy is going to play
he
a
gonna
decent
play.
amount of snaps.
Like he going to get some minutes, depending on where they at. So, I think he going to get some minutes, man.
All right, Mikey, what's next?
Next up are the linebackers. We're going to kind of bounce around from position to position here.
Okay.
But the linebackers, Bull, you mentioned earlier, possibly keeping 5.
Yeah.
Well, here's 7. You have Anthony Walker Jr., J.O.K., Taki, Jordan Kanasic, Mama, I say his name wrong.
Diabate,
Tony Fields, and Adams, who they signed. He's a special teams ace this offseason. According to your projections, Mr. Bull, 2 of these guys are gone.
Yeah, I think it's easy, guys.
Who's out?
I mean, I think it's the guys on the left, including Kanasic, and then Adams, who's a special teams guy. I think that's the 5. Tony Fields has done nothing in his time here. I know he was drafted, but he was a late pick, right?
Do you not have Diabate on that list?
I don't have Diabate.
Oh, Lord Jesus. That kid's going to play.
Diabate?
Diabate is going to play.
So you got him instead of Kanasic?
Heck yeah. I got him better than Adams and Kanasic. Listen, that guy, listen.
But Adams is a special teams guy. They brought him in specifically for that.
We don't care about that.
But the 5th linebacker's got to be a special teams guy.
That's your 5th and 6th.
You think they're going to keep 6?
Well, they could. I think they
could.
Well,
if they keep 6, then you keep Diabate and Adams and Kanasic.
But they have to be special team standouts.
Right.
And Kanasic has played on special teams in the past.
So
Diabate could.
6.
Fields could.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Fields has played on special teams.
I'm getting rid of Fields. Fields is 7th to me on this.
Fields play a lot. Fields been playing a lot since he got here. Like,
but they don't do anything.
Listen, if you're gonna keep, it's either between Kanasic and Adams. Which one you want?
Well, I mean, we gotta have one white guy at linebacker.
All right, we'll keep the white dude for you. See, this is how we work out. See how we keep one. Listen, I'm a fair guy. Give you something.
I'll give you one.
Yeah. I if they keep 6, I don't know. I think it's time to move on from Tony Fields.
Are you looking at me to respond to that?
Yeah,
I don't think that's crazy. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Was Tony Fields the one who ran into the puncher last year?
Yes.
When I think of Tony Fields, and I'm sure he's done more than
he
that.
had a couple. He made a couple big plays as well.
He's played
on defense and
he
on
had an
special
interception
teams.
last year.
Yeah.
It comes down to Adams and Kanasic.
And we got to get rid of Kanasic.
So
got to get rid of the white dude.
Well, I gave y'all the white dude. I was trying to give y'all him.
Forget it. I don't need a white dude.
I think Kanasic's on this team because I think he plays on multiple special teams.
He plays on all of them.
Well, that's why I think him and Adams are both on the team because they're both special teams guys.
Yeah.
Now, I might go outside of my framework here. If Taki is not playing, Diabate might be lined up starting for you.
Really?
That is how much he flashed. This dude is nasty. He can move. He has instincts. Now, guess what? He's not going to come out. I'm not saying that he's out here the second coming of Brian Urlacher or nothing. But what I am saying is he showed me enough to point where it's like, okay, well, I can play him on some rundown.
Well, I mean, listen, if he's flashing that much, it's not like they're so good at linebacker that you shouldn't keep him.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Mike. Let's go.
Jason, who's you cut? I missed if you would answer that. I didn't think we got your answer.
If you're keeping 6 of those 7, who are you cutting?
Give me the list again.
Steve, go back to 194.
Pull that back up, Mikey.
Pull that back up. Give me that. Yeah, right. Bring it
Anthony
right over
Walker,
here.
Let's go to tag 1 3/4 here.
Taki, Kanasic.
Walker, JOK, Taki. I'm keeping all 4 on the left. I am keeping 6, I think. I'd keep all 4 on the left and Diabate and Adams and get rid of Fields.
There you go.
Although, I think Fields is on this team.
They like him for some reason.
So maybe it is a tough call. You were right, Mike. There are some tough calls, apparently.
Sometimes.
You are correct, my friend.
I have an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, Steve, we're going to go to the offensive line next here. Now, I didn't list the starters because we know the 5 starters, Conklin, Pocic,
we know the 5 starters. I can't think of them.
Teller, and Jed Wills will make the team.
Yeah.
So these are the backups. These are the 9 backups listed on ESPN.com.
Ooh.
All right, so
we assume they're going to keep at least 9, potentially 10.
So we know for sure Jones and Whippler are on the team. We know for sure Hudson's on the team, right?
Yeah.
We agree that there,
Yeah.
Jason, or no?
Yeah, Hudson's on the team.
That's
All right,
8.
so that's 8. Now, they drafted Nick Harris fairly high. Well, what was he? Was he have like a 4th-round pick?
5th, I think.
Was it 5th?
Yeah. I mean, he was supposed to be your starting center last year.
Forbes never stays healthy. I don't need him on this team. Dunn's done a nice job when they've needed him.
Yep.
That's my squad.
Those 5? Hudson, Harris, Dunn, Whippler, and Jones?
Yes.
Those are your 5 backups?
Yes.
And you go with 10?
Yep.
Hudson, Harris, Dunn, Whippler, and Jones. Actually, I agree with that. I think it's Dunn or Forbes. I don't think you keep them both. There's some overlap there.
Yep.
And Harris, I mean, are you really keeping 3 centers?
He can play guard, though.
Are you sure? Because he's a little dude. He's a little dude.
I seen him play guard the first year when it was the COVID year against the Jets.
Whippler's also played guard in the preseason.
Yep.
Just throwing it out there.
Well, maybe that's the
They
save
might
then.
only keep 9 offensive linemen.
I think you keep 10. I think it's 10.
For the sake of this,
Yeah.
let's just say it's 9. Just have fun here.
If it's 9,
who's the odd man out?
I might cut Harris.
Dunn or Forbes. Harris is
No, Forbes is gone either way.
Yeah,
because Hudson, we all agree Hudson, Whippler, Jones are here. That's 8. So if it's 9, you can only keep 1 of Hudson or Harris or Dunn. You're keeping Harris.
If you're comfortable with Harris at guard, which I'm not sure I am, and I'm not sure they are.
I would keep Dunn as the 9th guy. If it had to be 9, I'd keep Dunn. If it's 10, I'd keep Harris and Dunn.
I'm keeping Harris just for versatility's sakes. I like guys that can play center and guard, so that means Whippler and Harris can play center or guard. I like that.
Well, Dunn can do that too. Dunn can play center
and
or
I
guard.
like Dunn. And I think Drew Forbes has played decently.
He has, but he's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. There's some depth here,
right,
where they could potentially, make a small trade, like where if they're looking for, an extra.
I mean, you're not going to get anything for Drew Forbes.
No.
You might,
but you maybe trade a little higher up the depth chart.
Nick Harris is the guy I think.
Right.
I don't know what you're going to get for Nick Harris. What's he done?
No, but I'm saying you trade with another team that's got a borderline.
No, I get it.
Guy at another position that
but
you need.
I mean, yeah, I mean, even look what you stole Wyatt Teller from Buffalo.
Yeah,
and that was I think 2 5s, and he hadn't really played.
6,
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you might get a 5. You might get 1 5 or a 6.
I'm thinking of
Harris.
like a player for a player trade. That's what I'm thinking about. Like that, I remember 1 year right before cutdown day, the Bengals traded. What's his name? The offensive lineman who was a bust, first-round pick, Billy Price. Mm-hmm. And they traded him to the Giants for B.J. Hill. So, like an offensive lineman who's borderline cut for a defensive lineman for a borderline cut.
That trade worked out for both teams, by the way.
No, Billy Price sucks. B.J. Hill's been great for the Bengals.
Billy Price started like 10 games for the Giants.
Yeah, but he stinks, and their line stinks.
That's fact.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. I want the best line. Give me the best guys available.
Yeah.
I ain't even really looking to make no trade because like you said, I don't
but
want
it's a guy who's not going to make the team.
Yeah.
I mean, know what I'm saying? Like,
but I have a hard time cutting Harris because if you think he can still play, he went from your first team center to obviously he had enough talent to be your starting center. If he could acclimate, it's all about who can play guard the best. If I'm looking at it like, can Dunn play guard better than or how much you giving up with Harris?
That's true. Especially because, what's the name? Wyatt Teller has been
hurt on a lot.
Yeah. All right, Mikey, what do we got next?
Next up is the defensive tackles. Now, I separated D tackles, D ends. In hindsight, maybe that wasn't the smartest move because you could finagle defensive ends, defensive tackles for one defensive line group, but bear with us for this. This is the defensive tackle room, and there were 7 guys listed on ESPN as guys in the depth chart. You have Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, Mo Hurst, Siaki Ika, Jordan Elliott, Tomi Togiai, and Tristan Hill.
So at most, you're going to keep 5 of these guys.
At most.
Probably 4.
4.
I think it's 4 defensive tackles.
Yeah.
All left-hand side.
I agree. I don't think there's much to talk about. The only question with Hurst is health. He's healthy now. I'm keeping the 4 on the left side. Jason?
Now that they signed Harris, I think that bumps Elliott probably.
Yeah, Elliott sucks. I don't want him on this
If you
team.
keep 5, it's probably Elliott.
Yes. Agreed.
But yeah, I think it's the 4 on the left.
Yep.
Before we move on to the last one, based on Mo Hurst's injury history, and he's looked really, really good in preseason. He's been healthy. He's flashed in every single game he's been on the field. Would you have a little more reason to keep a 5th defensive tackle?
No, because they got ends that could play in the middle if necessary.
Well, and they've got middles. Shelby Harris can play on the end.
Yep.
So
if
you want to keep
players.
Jordan Elliott, Shelby Harris shifts to end, and you just open a spot for.
There's a lot of flexibility there, so it's fine. No.
Okay, cool. And I asked that question because I had to stall because we had to update one graphic.
Yeah, Jordan Elliott's he's a bum. I mean, let's face it. No offense, but.
And we go to our last one. Now, Bull, you said earlier none of these would be hard. We've already had one difficult one. I'd be shocked if we're all in agreement on this one.
Okay.
The safeties. How many safeties are you keeping?
Yeah, but
who's getting cut?
It's not because they're all great. It's just because who the hell's the 4th guy? I mean, they're all undrafted slappies. I think it's Hickman, right? Weren't we excited about Hickman?
Yeah.
Obviously, Delpit, Thornhill, and McLeod are on the team. Those are your top 3 safeties.
And Hickman beat out Bell.
Right. I don't even know who McAllister and Medors are, to be honest.
Yeah.
Medors was a XFL signing.
Why would this be difficult?
This easy.
Well, could you go with 3? Do you need 4?
Well, that's part of the question. And then 2, you guys ready to just cut bait with Bell? You guys are good?
No, I think he's another special teams guy. I think he's a guy who could play on special teams.
I think so. I think Bell's on this team.
Well, if you want to keep 5 of them. But here's the thing. Ronnie Hickman is going to be on this team, in my opinion. Yeah. First of all, you can't get that many interceptions and be around the ball that much and like flash and be like, okay, I really like Hickman. Now, if you want to say I like Bell too, I like DeAnthony Bell last year. I think he's a special teams guy. Meters and McAllister have no chance to make the roster.
Yeah. All right, so I guess there is some discussion.
I don't think Hickman's a lock to make this team.
I don't think he's a lock, but I would.
He's a practice squad guy to me.
I think he could play.
Yeah.
Now, what may hurt him?
They're not going to keep 5 safeties.
No. I don't know if they keep 4.
What may hurt him is I don't know if is he going to play this week.
Hickman?
Yeah. Did he get banged up?
He got banged up a little bit.
I'll see if I can confirm. I don't
so
think they've ruled him
can't
out.
Battle. Whoever played the best in this game against Kansas City.
You know what? If he's kind of banged up, it's actually not a bad thing because then they could get him.
Slide him through.
They could slide him.
Although you could sign a guy off another practice squad at any time.
That's true. But if he's banged up, no team's going to pick him up with a 53-man roster.
Right.
So I agree
that
with you.
if you're keeping a 4 safety, it has to be a special teams
Right,
guy.
right. So
Ronnie Hickman's not playing over top of those other guys.
That's true. Fair.
So it has to be, if you're keeping 4, that 4th guy has to play special teams. That's why I think Bell has the advantage.
Fair point.